So I wanted to start with this term that popped up in the research today.
Okay, yeah.
It's a phrase that I think just perfectly diagnoses a feeling most of us have every single day, but we haven't quite put a name to.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the capacity crisis.
It sounds dramatic, like something out of a disaster movie.
It does, right. But when you dig into the definition, it's actually just, well, it's economic reality. It's
Yeah.
that specific point where a business or even just an individual physically runs out of hours.
You've hit a wall.
You've hit a wall, you're trading time for impact, and you just can't get to the high-value strategy, the stuff that actually grows things, because the daily grind has completely capped you out.
It's the bottleneck. And for a long time, the only answer was, hire more people.
Which is expensive,
Yeah.
and it takes forever.
Right.
Exactly. And this capacity crisis is the lens we have to look through for our topic today. We're looking at a stack of documents all centered around this concept called the Secure Smart Associate, or SSA.
The primary source being from growth rate solutions,
Yeah.
but we're pulling in other things too.
Yeah, some context on industrial AI, a few governance frameworks from LTI Mindtree, and even some use cases from the nonprofit world to, see how this actually works.
And I think if there's one big headline from all of that reading, it's this. We are leaving the era of the chatbot.
And entering the era of the digital employee.
Exactly.
And that distinction is where I really want to start because, frankly, digital employee sounds like marketing fluff.
Sure.
I have a chatbot on my banking app, and it's awful. It's not an employee, it's a roadblock. So what is the actual functional difference here?
The difference really comes down to one word.
Okay.
Agentic.
Agentic.
Yes. So think of that banking chatbot. It's passive. It's just sitting there waiting for you to type a keyword so it can spit out a pre-written answer.
It's a tool, like a calculator.
It's a tool. It sits on a desk until you pick it up. An agentic system, an SSA. It has agency. It doesn't just chat. It works.
What do you mean it works?
It has permissions. It's connected to your CRM, your ticketing software, your calendar, your email. It doesn't wait for you to ask it to do something.
So it sees a trigger.
It sees a trigger, like a new lead coming in, and it executes a whole complex workflow all by itself.
So if I were to use a physical analogy, a chatbot, it's like a reference book I have to look up.
Yeah.
An agentic SSA is more like an intern I can say, hey, handle this to, and they just go do it.
It's even better than that. You don't even have to say handle this. The intern sees the email, knows it's their job, and handles it while you're asleep.
That's the shift, from tool to colleague.
That's the shift.
Which brings us to the mission for this deep dive. The sources lay out 3 very specific roles that these digital employees are taking on right now. Not in the future, but today.
The digital dispatcher, the sales associate, and the onboarding specialist.
And looking at these 3, it really gives you a map of where all the friction in a business usually lives.
Yep.
So let's start with that first one, the digital dispatcher. This seems like it's aimed squarely at IT teams, managed service providers, help desks.
Right. And to get the value, you have to look at the old way. You have to see the human constraints.
You mean the triage trap?
Exactly that. Picture a busy IT provider. You have these highly skilled engineers, people, you are paying a lot of money to solve complex server issues.
Mm-hmm.
But what are they actually doing for the first 2 hours of every single day?
They're reading tickets. My mouse is broken. I can't find the printer.
They are sorting mail. And the problem isn't just that it's tedious. It's the cognitive load.
Right.
Every time that engineer reads a ticket just to decide if it's important, they burn a little bit of mental energy. By the time they get to the real crisis, they're already fatigued.
And fatigue leads to mistakes. Misrouted tickets, ignored alerts.
You got it.
It's so inefficient. So how does the SSA, this digital dispatcher, change that whole dynamic?
Well, this is where we can draw a really cool parallel to industrial AI. One of our sources talks about intralogistics. Okay, so in a modern warehouse, you have robots that just move boxes from A to B so the humans can do the complex packing. The digital dispatcher is intralogistics for information.
It's moving the data boxes.
Precisely. The SSA sits on the front line. It doesn't just send an auto reply. It analyzes the incoming ticket. It understands the technical context, the severity.
It decides, okay, this is a password reset versus this is a critical server failure.
And then it routes it. It routes it to the specific human engineer who's best suited to solve that exact problem. It even updates the ticket status.
So it basically cleans the desk before the human even logs on.
Yes. So the engineer sits down with their coffee, and instead of a pile of junk mail, they have a curated list of high-value problems that actually need their brain.
You've just removed the administrative tax from their whole day.
You haven't replaced the engineer, you've maximized them.
Okay, that makes perfect sense for internal ops. It's pure efficiency. But the second role, the sales associate, this one is customer-facing. And I have to be the skeptic here. We've all dealt with sales bots on websites, and they are usually infuriating. They just loop you in circles. Why is this any different?
It's the integration. Most of those annoying bots are just simple decision trees. If you say price, they show you a pricing page. They don't know who you are. The SSA, acting as a sales associate, is deployed on the phone line and the website, and it's acting as a true SDR, a sales development representative.
So it's doing more than just answering FAQs.
Oh, much more. It's qualifying. It engages the visitor, whether that's a voice call or a chat, and it vets them against your specific criteria. It'll ask about budget, timeline, authority.
But does it actually move the needle, or is it just collecting data for a human to look at later?
This is the Agentic kicker. If the lead is qualified, if they pass the test, the SSA accesses the sales team's live calendar.
And books the appointment right there.
Books the appointment right there, with zero human intervention.
That immediately solves the speed to lead problem. I mean, a lead comes in at 8 p.m. I don't see it until 9 a.m. the next day. They've probably already contacted 3 other companies.
And one of those companies might have had an SSA that booked them on the spot. You've lost the deal before you even woke up.
Wow.
And there's another layer here from the nonprofit source material, scalability.
How so?
Well, think about a nonprofit during a crisis or a business during a huge product launch. You might get 1,000 inquiries in an hour. A human team creates a bottleneck.
People get put on hold. They give up.
Exactly. An SSA has infinite elasticity. It can have one conversation or 5,000 simultaneous conversations with the exact same level of attention and quality.
It never gets overwhelmed.
It never gets overwhelmed. It never has a bad day. It never sounds tired on the phone.
Which connects to that marketing sources point about behavioral targeting. If it's hooked into your CRM, it knows who it's talking to.
It's not starting from zero. It's personalized. It's engaging based on data, not just a generic script.
Okay, so we've covered triage, we've covered sales intake.
Yeah.
Now the third one, which I actually think is the most underestimated, the onboarding specialist.
The training gap.
Yeah, we all know the pain of onboarding, whether it's a new client or a new employee. It's usually me remembering to send a PDF, then chasing them for a signature, then explaining how to log into the portal for the 5th time.
And if you're busy, you might explain it poorly.
Right.
It's inconsistent. That's the core problem. Humans are variable. Depending on the day, your onboarding speech changes. And that creates a margin of human error right at the very start of the relationship.
So how does an SSA fix that? Because teaching someone feels nuanced.
It is. But the source describes a very specific 3-step process for building this onboarding specialist. The SSA ingests 3 things: your SOPs, your knowledge base, and your brand voice.
When you say ingests, what do you mean? It just indexes them.
It reads them, it understands them, and it creates a semantic map of your entire process. It essentially memorizes the manual, but with comprehension.
And then what? It just emails the manual to the new hire.
No, it guides them. It acts as a mentor. It says, hey, welcome. First, let's set up your email. Here's how you do it. Then, okay, great. Now let's look at the safety protocols.
So it walks them through document collection and setup autonomously.
Yes. The source used a great term for this, the brief OS.
The brief operating system.
Right. It ensures that the way users interact with your company is completely consistent. Every single new hire gets the exact same quality of training, whether they start on a Monday morning or a Friday afternoon.
And I imagine it requires a lot less patience from the human managers.
Well, that's the personalized learning aspect the nonprofit source mentioned. An SSA has infinite patience. If a new hire is stuck on step 2, the SSA can spend 4 hours helping them. It doesn't get frustrated.
A human manager would be pulling their hair out.
Absolutely. So you're not using software to teach. You're handing the new hire off to a digital colleague whose entire job is to hold their hand while they're ready.
Which frees up the human manager to do what?
Build the relationship. Talk about culture. Do the things that actually require a heartbeat.
Okay, I see the utility in all 3 of these roles: dispatcher, sales, onboarding. But we have to pivot to the part that usually makes people nervous.
And it should.
Security.
Security.
You're talking about giving an autonomous agent access to my internal SOPs, my client data, my calendar, and letting it speak to the public. The risk of rogue AI or hallucinations is huge.
The classic fear, right. The chatbot promises a client a 90% discount that doesn't exist because it got confused.
Exactly that. So how does the secure part of Secure Smart Associate actually work? Is it just a pinky promise?
No, it's architectural. And this is a really important distinction. This is not the same as just hooking up a public model like ChatGPT to your email.
Okay.
The growth right framework is all about guardrails.
Define guardrails in a technical sense, not just rules.
Think of it as whitelisting versus black boxing. A public model is a black box. You don't know exactly how it gets to an answer. An SSA operates inside a strict perimeter.
So you tell it what it can do, not what it can't.
Precisely. It is explicitly told, you can access this calendar, but not that folder. You can offer a 10% discount, but you cannot generate a contract. It's strictly permission-based.
And that LTI Mindtree source on governance, it brought up the key word here, which is auditability.
Yes, explain that.
Well, if a human makes a mistake, sometimes it's hard to trace why. Oh, I thought you said X. With an SSA, every single decision is logged.
There's a paper trail.
A digital paper trail for every action. I routed this ticket because keywords X and Y were present. I booked this meeting because the lead confirmed a budget of Z.
That seems crucial for compliance, especially with things like the EU AI Act coming.
It is. That act emphasizes transparency in AI decision-making. You have to be able to explain why the AI did what it did. You can't just shrug and say, the algorithm did it.
So this is built with compliance as a feature, not an afterthought.
Right. And there's a business model angle here, too, the white labeling part.
Oh yeah, this is fascinating for managed service providers. Instead of just selling a client a software license for a bot,
the MSP creates an SSA, brands it as their own employee,
and sells the outcome. They aren't selling customer service software, they're selling intake management. We will handle your intake.
And they use their governed secure SSA to do it at scale.
Exactly. It lets them scale their service without having to hire 1,000 new support staff.
Which brings us completely full circle. We started with the capacity crisis, the idea that we are all capped.
And we've walked through 3 very real ways to break that cap. The dispatcher breaks the triage bottleneck, the sales associate breaks the time bottleneck,
and the onboarding specialist breaks the training bottleneck. All of it underpinned by those security guardrails so you don't accidentally leak all the company's secrets.
Correct.
So if we accept the premise, if we accept that this agentic AI is moving from just an experiment to real adoption, we have to answer that final question from the source text.
What could you achieve if capacity was no longer a constraint?
It's a heavy question, because usually when businesses talk about automation, the subtext is just cost cutting.
How can we fire the admins?
Right. But this feels different. The sources suggest non-negotiable capacity. It feels more like value creation. It's not about getting rid of humans. It's about liberating them.
If your engineers aren't sorting mail, are they building better infrastructure?
If your sales team isn't answering, what are your hours? Are they closing bigger, more complex deals?
If your managers aren't chasing PDF signatures, are they actually mentoring the next generation of leaders?
It just pushes the human up the value chain.
To where they belong. Strategy, empathy, high-level judgment.
Or, as one of the texts puts it, maybe it just gives you time to nurture the home front.
I like that part. Maybe solving the capacity crisis isn't just about doing more work. Maybe it's about stopping the burnout.
That's the real takeaway, isn't it? We're building these digital employees not just to work harder, but maybe to live better.
A hybrid workforce where the junior employee never sleeps, so the senior employee you can actually rest.
So here's a final provocative thought for you to chew on today. We've been talking about the digital employee. If you have an SSA handling 80% of the cognitive drudgery, and it's faster and more consistent than you, are you ready to redefine what work actually looks like for your human team?
Because if the busy work disappears, you can't hide behind it anymore. You have to deliver real value.
The bar just got raised. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Always a pleasure.
And to our listener, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.